Magnificat anima mea Dominum,
et exsultat spiritus meus in Deo salutari meo.
Cordial welcome to the first episode of the series related to the theme Saint Teresa of Avila, Mother of Interior Souls. At the outset, we must know a short biography of Saint Teresa of Avila. The spiritual message and the life of the messenger are so interdependent and interconnected that we cannot make an adequate understanding of the one without having recourse to the other. Saint Teresa of Avila teaches us from her own lived experience. Her description of prayer and contemplation is only a translation of her intimate, interior, mystical experiences into humanly possible words. Contemplative prayer cannot be figured out. Material things are comparatively easy to describe because they have size, shape, color, consistency. Here we deal with an immaterial reality. So Saint Teresa wrote to her sisters, "I am straining every nerve, sisters, to explain to you this operation of love. Yet I do not know any way of doing so." Saint Teresa wrote in her book of life, "It is one favor that the Lord should grant this favor, but quite another favor to understand what favor and what grace it is, and still another to be able to describe and explain it." A keenness of perception in the understanding of God's gifts is a great quality we find in Saint Teresa. Few people indeed have paid such honest and clear-sighted attention to experience going on within their minds as did our Avilan saint. There were great mystics before Saint Teresa, but we do not have from them a systematic and scientific treatment on mystical life and mystical prayer. Whereas Saint Teresa brought to light the essential as well as the accidental and adventitious elements of contemplative life. The mystical infused contemplative prayer, thanks to her works, has become now intelligible and discernible. What she wrote down was primarily and chiefly what she experienced in her own life. Hence, she had the highest possible certitude of her teaching. She took great pains to notice exactly every shade of difference, never to describe anything without the most accurate indication of all the circumstances connected therewith, and never to affirm anything except with due reserve. She took the greatest care to analyze the workings of the supernatural experiences with the sharpest penetration. Saint Teresa's father, Don Alonso Sanchez de Cepeda, had married twice. He married first in 1504 an Avilan lady, Catalina. By her, he had 2 sons and a daughter. Catalina died in 1507. 2 years later, the widower Alonso of 24 married a girl of 14, Dona de Avila Beatriz e Ahumada. By the second wife, he had 7 sons and 2 daughters. Of these, Saint Teresa was the third. Saint Teresa never used the expression half-brother or half sister or half step brother or step sister. She wrote, "We were 3 sisters and 9 brothers." Teresa was born on March 28, 1515 at Avila, Spain. The custom in Spanish families is for the child to use the names of both father and mother as the full legal name. Teresa's name therefore was Teresa de Ahumada y Cepeda, literally Teresa of Ahumada and Cepeda. In modern usage, Spaniards placed the name of the father first and the name of the mother second. But in Saint Teresa's day, either order was acceptable. Thus, Saint Teresa listed her mother's name first, while Saint John of the Cross listed his father's name first. The meaning of the name Teresa is ears of corn. So, its equivalent in Hindi is Shalini. Alonso was a moderately wealthy Spanish gentleman of the traditional school, devoted to God and King, somewhat austere, rigorous with his children, but basically a generous man. Teresa's mother was a tender woman, devoted to her children, a person of deep feelings, a little bit of romantic, and a devout Catholic. Teresa tells us that she was her father's pet. From the age of reason, Teresa had only one desire, fostered by her reading of the lives of saints and martyrs. I want to see God and to be with Him forever and ever. As a child of 6, she already showed her power of leadership and used that tremendous asset of hers and persuaded her brother Rodrigo, 4 years her junior, to go to the land of Moors to suffer martyrdom to see God immediately. They were met by their uncle, who unceremoniously took them back to their worried parents. Her mother died when Teresa was 13 years old, and she immediately found a mother in the Most Blessed Virgin Mary. Teresa was a quiet and eyeful and highly attractive girl. A contemporary theologian remarked that anyone who came to close contact with her would have his head turned. She was a girl maddeningly beautiful. She had curly chestnut hair, 3 moles near her mouth, which gave her a piquant look. She was well built and graceful in carriage. She was also the typical Spanish girl of that era. When she grew into her teens, she began to give close attention to her appearance. She dressed carefully, preening in her bedroom mirror and studying her facial expressions and the position of her hands in order to use them to their best advantage. She spent long hours with her cousins and had a youthful romance with one of them. Being worried, her father sent her to board at the Augustinian convent in Avila in order to forestall any aberration of her conduct. That boarding was a kind of finishing school for girls from the better families. But she writes in her book of life that she never committed, not even venially, any sin in the matter of sex. Though she was less inclined to embrace religious life, but the behavior of a saintly 80-year-old Augustinian nun of that boarding house contributed much to her choosing the Carmelite religious life. On November 2nd, 1536, the 21-year-old Teresa stole out from her father's home and entered the Incarnation Convent. Being informed of her entry, Alonso reluctantly gave permission to his determined daughter and offered a huge amount of money by way of dowry and a number of personal effects. Teresa appeared delighted with her new life. There were 180 nuns in the Incarnation Convent when she entered there. Her entrance into Carmel inaugurated a new epoch for the Carmelite order. Thank you.
Magnificat anima mea Dominum
et exsultat